first part of this S-turn. In late 2009, a player simply known as Cole became the first to get a record with a free fall hop at the start. By hopping when the track goes slightly up at the start, it's possible to get enough air to completely clear the track below. This saves time because the player is moving forward in the X direction the entire time, as opposed to going down the hill where their speed is mostly going in the Y direction. This trick would further be evolved by using a cart, all of which have outside drift. By drifting and hopping over the edge, the cart will continue to rotate to the left. When the vehicle hits the road, hopping causes the game to push it away and give it speed. This speed is enough to go over the zipper at an angle and cut the corner of the track. Since a cart with outside drift is better on Rainbow Road than a bike with outside drift, this makes Rainbow Road the only record in the game to be set with a cart. Over the following several years, the record would come down by a fraction of a second at a time, mainly just from optimizing the driving around the course. Some of the most notable record holders were Japanese runners KK and Runio, who set 7 world records on Rainbow Road in 2011, and Katie, who got the first time of 2:24 in February 2016. His time stood all the way until January 2019, when a player simply known as Bob beat it by 0.04 of a second. There may not be many athletes left named Bob, but there's at least one who's a Rainbow Road champion. But the crazy part is, the playing field will completely change if anybody's able to pull off the ultra shortcut. Because of Mario Kart Wii's strange checkpoint system and a few other mechanics, many tracks have large shortcuts known as ultra shortcuts. Rainbow Road's ultra shortcut was discovered in a tool-assisted speedrun by Estaloy62 in early 2016. The player must go forward in front of the railing at the start, then turn back and hop along the small space between the railing and the edge of the track. Then, the player uses a mushroom and does a spin drift, drifting to the right but holding the stick back to the left, then hopping off the edge of the track, using a mushroom in the air, before finally landing on the track below. This trick requires an incredible amount of precision to pull off. The spin drift must be done at exactly the right angle and location, because the player must make it far enough back in order to fool the game's checkpoint system to have the lap count, and the player must hit the track at the right angle to have a chance at making it to the track. What's more, there are invisible out-of-bound patches across the gap between the track that must be avoided. If they're hit, the game recognizes the player as being out of bounds, and Lakitu picks them up. Estaloy's tool-assisted speedrun, or TAS, was essentially just a demonstration of what was possible. It used tools like slowdowns and re-records to create a theoretical speedrun. Today, more than 3 years after the trick's discovery, nobody's been able to execute this trick in a real-time speedrun of the track. King Alex has probably come the closest. He estimates that he's done more than 10,000 attempts to get the trick. Some of his recent attempts have gotten good spin drifts, but hit the out-of-bounds planes that end the run. Whether King Alex or some other player is able to pull off this trick, it'll definitely be regarded as one of the finest runs in all of Mario Kart Wii. That's all for this game. Now we're going back to the handhelds again, where we find a very unique iteration of Rainbow Road. This is Mario Kart 7. Mario Kart 7's version of Rainbow Road is the first in the series to not have 3 laps of the same track. Instead, it's one long course that's divided into 3 sections that count as laps. Rainbow Road is widely regarded as one of Mario Kart 7's finest tracks, and as a result, it's had a pretty deep history for speedrunning. Unfortunately, Mario Kart 7's replay system is similar to Mario Kart DS's. You have the option to view it in the action movie perspective, or from a first-person perspective. There exist methods of getting around it, like using a 3DS capture card or just recording the run live with a camera, but these methods were used pretty infrequently, so most replays are from the first person. The first verifiable record was a 142 by Walter in December 2011. The re-addition of coins to the series made for a new challenge. The player starts with 0 coins, and can pick up to 10 of them at a time. Each additional coin adds a little bit to your speed, so the strategy around each turn wasn't simply to go as fast and as optimally as possible. There was now the addition of trying to pick up as many coins as early as possible. Mario Kart 7 also introduced gliding to the tracks, where the player could slowly glide down to the ground after getting airtime. Walter used this to his advantage to perform a small shortcut on the second segment of the track, where he glided down to a lower path farther ahead. He also cut this corner at the very end of section 3 to end the course. As with the other games, the first record wouldn't last long. The record time came down by about 5.5 seconds by late 2012. Some of the most prominent record holders at the time were Dako, Nasi, and Naiko. These three guys broke the record a combined 25 times, and they employed a number of new strategies to their advantage. For example, Nasi figured out the fastest method of going over the wavy section in Section 1. Players normally just pressed R over and over to stunt repeatedly and gain speed boosts, but Nasi strategically hopped back and forth across the middle. Because of the way waves were formed, it was possible to immediately stunt quickly on each side this way. Better methods of gliding were used. By gliding quickly down and then up, the cart overall moves faster through the air. Players had to figure out just how low they could go without being out of bounds, then zoom back up to get to the track. By December 2012, a player known as Monar would get the record. What then began was an incredible streak of dominance. As he found minor new strategies and improved his skills at racing, Monar broke the record 16 times in a row through early 2014. He used stuff like wall boosting. When the player hits into certain walls in Mario Kart 7, it pushes them back at a higher